Hi y'all, I'm Meredith Howard and I'm going to be chatting today about all things picture book and chapter books that are perfect for reading aloud, because truly there are no better ways to bond with your kids than by reading and sharing books with them. I'm going to start off with those youngest readers. Be sure to let me know if you have questions about chapter books because we have amazing ones as well. Right now I'm sticking with these storybooks, so stay tuned, there's a lot to cover. That's Not My series, perfect for those youngest readers. There are touchy-feely textures on each page, like this one, That's Not My Llama. Go through each one that's not theirs, like That's Not My Llama, its patches are too smooth, and you can see how interactive this is for those youngest readers. Finally, you get to the end and you see, oh, that's my llama. Its ears are so soft. Kids love these. They really last through even preschool. They're super durable, well-made books that kids love. I'm a Hungry Dinosaur is a great read aloud for toddlers, especially those ones who love to hear rhythmic and rhyming storybooks. This is all about Dinosaur who's super hungry and loves to bake cakes, colorful letters, and great illustrations throughout as well. We also have I'm a Dirty Dinosaur. It's super fun for reading over and over to see how he creates and takes care of all of that hunger he feels. Once Upon a Timely, introduced for the fall, is so beautiful. It's all about the ways that we love related to stories and fairy tales. So for example, it says, I love you flowingly like Rapunzel's hair. I love you observantly like Baby Bear. Thick pages to be able to get through all of these beautiful pictures and great connections with familiar characters until you get till the end and you see, oh, I love you everlastingly, Once Upon a Timely. I love to read with you beside me. Such a cool book for sharing for all of those book lovers in your life. Night Night on the Farm is a great read aloud, all about helping the animals on the farm to go to bed. These books are really creative. We actually have a new one called Night Night Busy Town that's perfect for those fans of things that go. Each page has a smaller book to be able to pull out of the side to be able to share with the animal that's going to sleep that night. So it's a really sweet way for getting your kids involved, as they have actually 4 mini books throughout this one book. It's a really great way to interact with the book and share those stories for those farm animals. The Muddle and Match series is so fun. This is Muddle and Match Monsters. These books are all about introducing alliteration in a creative way. So it says, Marvin the magnificent monster makes mighty milkshakes for his massive mates. And then kiddos can maneuver these flaps to create a unique character and a unique story each time they read it. So it's something new every time. It's a really fun and great book to have on hand for that reason. This is Owl, another great interactive storybook, all about the character Owl, and you get to learn about what his day looks like. Kids get to follow prompts throughout this story, so they love that. They love to be participants in the story. For an example, it says, clap 3 times to switch off the sun, and then turn the page and see what happens when you do. Of course, that's a great way for them to jump in on the storytelling and have a lot of fun along the way. The complete book of Farmyard Tales is perfect for interacting with young readers. Has 20 stories, follows the Boot family on Apple Tree Farm, also has an audio CD for listening on the go or if you have your own quiet time during the day. This book is so fun and sweet. It's what's called a dual reader. It has a shorter line of text across the top and a longer one along the bottom, so you can read just the top for a shorter story, both for the longer story, or both are completely comprehensive. And then when your readers are reading independently, they can read the top and you read the bottom, and thereby they are sharing in the storytelling process with you. Great way for them to build those reading skills. The Billy's Adventure books are some of our girls' favorites. This is all about Billy B. Brown in her years as a preschooler and how she uses her imagination to go on so many different adventures. In this case, she's headed to outer space. We have other titles as well, and our kids have always loved to hear where she goes just with her imagination. The Fast and Furry Racers book, another great storybook series that we love. Cleopatra Bones and the Golden Chimpanzee is all about a mad dash to get to some buried treasure. We have another one called the Silver Serpent Cup that is about a wild race to get to the finish line. These are fun, funny, goofy books that are all about kind of an adventurous story with great illustrations that kids love to hear the rhyming throughout as well. Where Happiness Lives was introduced for the fall, and it's such a sweet storybook all about finding where your happiness lives. And it's not really where you live. It's not about how big your house is or how much stuff you have, but instead it's about the memories that you make in that home, as well as the people that you get to enjoy those memories with. It's got flaps and fun ways for kids to be able to interact and explore the different places where the mice are trying to find out where happiness lives. Nibbles the Book Monster, of course, is one of our favorites, all about Nibbles who eats his way through familiar stories like Goldilocks and the Three Bears and the Little Red Riding Hood. There are holes and cutouts all throughout this book, so it's really fun, and you get to see Nibbles' shenanigans as he interrupts what are familiar stories to your kiddos in really funny ways. I am a huge fan of any of our illustrated storybooks. This was a new one introduced for the fall called The Forgotten Fairy Tales of Brave and Brilliant Girls. It has multiple stories throughout this book with lesser known fairy tale characters, but the leads are always girls who are very adventurous and brave. So it's a really fun one to have on hand for your whole family. Truly, we have loved this one. And if you're familiar with any of our illustrated storybooks, you're definitely going to want to stock up on those because kids love them. Like our 10-minute stories. We have 10 stories throughout this one book that take 10 minutes to read. An example is The Tin Soldier. They're really fun. I love having this book with me on the go because I've got 10 stories in one book. So if I'm at a carpool line or at a stopping point, we can share a book together, and I only have to have one book in hand. And then finally, of course, you're probably familiar with some of our illustrated storybooks like the illustrated fairy tales or illustrated stories from Shakespeare. Then I want to show you these illustrated originals like Little Women or the Illustrated Odyssey. These are such cool books that have the complete story with beautiful illustrations throughout. Kids love, and especially older readers who love these books. You can read these aloud with them and have that bonding experience with your older readers as well. Tons that we're covering here. I hope you're having a wonderful day.